for those of you that don't know, there's a book series by author E.C. Tubb. That's T-U-E-E with two E's. It starts with a series called The Winds of Gath, and that is the book series is called Do the Rest of Terra. So it's $2 on Amazon. I hate to plug things like that. If you ever wanted to get a little bit more insight into the kind of things that you love, it's very pulp sci-fi. It's a good book series. But I picked up the first book today. I'm planning to read it sometime this week. So enjoy.
Add it to the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. While we know that death is in the natural order of things, it is always difficult to face the unexpected loss of someone you loved. Blair played a special part in all of our lives. Our grief is the measure of the great love and connection that we had with Blair throughout the course of his life. Memorials serve a dual purpose. They allow us to remember a loved one, but they also remind us of our own mortality and our humanity. We are reminded of people who have been a source of strength, inspiration, great company, and who have most enriched our lives through love and friendship. Those loved ones are the most important to us and help us derive a mutual fulfillment and give meaning and value to our lives. We all strive to create purpose and meaning for our existence that is based on reason as we search for knowledge and answers through our individual beliefs, be it faith or science or some combination thereof. The finite, infinite variety of humanity, the wonder and beauty of nature, art, music, and literature, but especially the love of those who enrich our lives. People like James Blair, who had a philosophy of life and ethics based on human nature and the natural world, recognize that we have to take responsibility for each other and to help solve the problems of humanity, or at least make the problems easier to bear, and keeping a balance between human needs and nature. In striving to live our lives honestly, as Blair did, we have the ability to make the world a better place. Blair certainly did this for me, for you, for every life he touched. And he would want us to carry that lesson forward in our own lives. Through Blair's caring nature, he shared love, friendship, gentleness, and humor. Through his tolerance and empathy, his many passions, he used his exuberance, quirky personality to make the world better and an infinitely more interesting place. He was so incredibly loved by all of you, and he knew it, even if he didn't know how to accept it. His influence will live on in the unending consequences that will flow from his life and his wonderful, warm character. It is us who will continue to carry the memories of his smile and laughter. Blair will live on in all of our hearts and thoughts. I'm sure that each of you feels enriched because you had the good fortune of having Blair in your life. I certainly feel that way. We are all privileged to have had such an important place in our lives, in his heart, and the absolute joy of having had Blair as our beloved brother, friend, neighbor, and colleague over the years. He will never be lost or forgotten. At this time, I'd like to ask Amy to come up and do a reading.
I'll be reading a Druid prayer piece, and please bear with me as I try not to butcher the name too bad. It is by Iolo Morganwg, tributes to the book of Traharan, the great poet. Grant, O Spirit, thy protection, and in protection, reason, and in reason, light, and in light, truth, and in truth, justice, and in justice, love, and in love, the love of spirit, and in the love of spirit, the love of all existences. And now I'd like to invite Nikki up to read a poem.
I'm Learning How to Live by James Blair. I'm learning how to live in a new way since the day you were taken away. Excuse me. I'm learning how to live with the things that left unsaid, knowing I got to say them with every tear I shed. I'm learning how to live by embracing the pain, knowing that you live on through the memories that were made. I'm learning how to live, knowing I will never again see your face, and I have peace knowing you're in a better place. I'm learning how to live, knowing you're free. It gives me the strength to move on. I will live my life to honor thee.
Okay, at this time, I would like to have all of you have the opportunity to share your own wonderful memories of James Blair. We would love it if you would be willing to share them with us during this time. I would like anybody to come forward to share those memories. Eric and Rick, I know you have some things prepared, as well as DJ. We would really appreciate it.
There is a meaningful and sacred ritual that I have been doing for at least 14 years. But that's not quite true because it was never mine. The first time we made it a formal ritual that we acknowledged as a special thing was 2009, but even then I shared it with Blair. I would start the toast and he would finish it. But it actually began much earlier, standing around a burn barrel. Standing in his backyard around a burn barrel, passing around a 2-liter Mountain Dew. For several years, that was a common ritual that we would share a drink. And for several years, nobody ever acknowledged it or spoke of it. And I wrote a paper in a survey of religion class when I analyzed our backyard fire rituals in the context of world religion. And recognized and later discussed with people that we had been participating in an ecumenical religious ritual with our friends that was deeply meaningful. When I began to make it a formal rite, I would generally have 3 cups we shared. Today I can only focus on 1. And ordinarily we would drink a cup in Thanksgiving for all the blessings we have at the moment. The last cup would be a cup that we drink in prosperity, sharing all of our hopes, which to this day I still always overfill. But in the middle, whether it was a feast or at a wedding, in the middle, I would always, and still will always, pour a glass of mead. Mankind's first and oldest alcoholic beverage. This ties us to the memories of our ancestors and friends, all those who have gone before us. So long as your name is spoken in this world, so long as your stories are shared, so long as the ripples that you have made in this world continue to spread and reverberate, you are not gone. There's only one name on my mind today, but going forward, there's one more on my litany of all those who have gone out of this world before me. There may be some day in the distant future, 10,000 years from now, when there is no remnant of me or Blair left in this world. But so long as I live, I will be sharing his stories. And so long as I raise this cup and share it with others, his name will be on my lips. So as you come up, if you wish, when you're done speaking, take a cup and share with us. If not, if you're not comfortable, or if you don't want alcohol, it's entirely fine. I'd ask you at least touch the cup or raise it in his memory. I drink to Blair.
Today we remember Blair, a true friend. We shared countless memories together. From weddings to game nights, to birthdays, barbecues, road trips, late 9 miles pizza treks, bonfires, shooting pool, and talks about life, religion, and of course, technology. Many of you have shared the first time they met Blair, or the first time they hung out with him, but for me it's weird. I cannot remember a time when Blair wasn't around. He's been a constant in my life for well over 20 years. As we all try to understand, and cope with his passing, we have a myriad of emotions, as you can definitely see. Sadness, anger, love, friendship, disappointment, but gratitude that we all got to share our lives with him. While we are all here to remember and to share the wonderful things that Blair added to our lives, we must also face the reality of his death. Blair, I'm angry with you. Just like I was angry at Sanders when he took his life. Over the past decade, my anger for Sanders has mellowed, but I still have dreams about him at times and moments we shared. And I still think I see him every once in a while when I'm in a crowd. I know with time my anger of your death will fade. But I wish that you would have asked for help. The day you passed, I texted you to hang out, and you responded that you were cleaning, and you would have to pass. If only you would have said yes to hang out and ask me for help. So many people here loved you. So many. And now you're gone. We'll have to learn to live without your humor, genuine compassion, and let's be honest, your stubbornness. I will miss seeing your smiling face and our ability to tag team Rick whenever we give him a hard time. I love you and I miss you. As with any death, you start to question your own mortality. I know Blair and I believe different things, but we always fully respected each other's beliefs. For anyone here today that is struggling or having negative thoughts, please know that the relationship I have with Jesus has helped me through the struggle and has given me strength. Likewise, my family and friends have been rocks of support. I know Blair had many friends, but he did not have a strong family, and he did not have a strong family support or a strong community of faith to lean on. I hope everyone knows that I am always a person that you can call and talk, even if we've lost touch over the years. However, I also challenge everyone here to find faith and to make it a pillar of their life. Whether it be Christianity, Druidism, Judaism, Wiccan, etc. Please seek out and find your community of faith. I wish his friends were enough for Blair, but unfortunately we were not. I wish he had more pillars of support in his life. My love for him cannot bring him back. But we can all keep sharing his memory, lifting each other up, encouraging each other to seek help. Maybe we can get through this together. My last thought is, I'm not sure I can handle losing a very close friend to suicide for a third time. It's just too hard. So please, seek counseling, see a doctor, talk with your family, share with your friends, find strength in your faith, and ask me for help. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that none of us have to live through this again. I miss you, man. Might need a couple more tissues over here.
You gotta hold on to it.
Can go with the meat. I think they go well.
Fair enough, fair enough. Duma, Blair, James, Space Monkey, Panda, Techno Bitch and Answer Monkey, Party Member, Confidant, Friend, Brother. He was all of these things and more. It didn't much matter what you called him, but he was there for a conversation, a question answered, a game played, or a shoulder rub if you wanted. My memory of meeting Blair was back to the high school days. I was still new in town. I recall it was one of the $2 second run movies we used to be able to catch over at Super Cinemas. And Justin introduced me to it. Even then, I remember his trademark backpack, hoodie, his trademark hoodie, and the infamous lazy backpack. Back then, we bonded over our passion for computers. The original Half-Life and Counter-Strike come to mind as things that we spent a lot of time together doing back then. I'll let Ed recount any more details if he wants, but our common love for Counter-Strike led us to the well-remembered monitor rental event a few years later. Late night fires at the Blair residence were a common occurrence in the intervening years. Especially in the fall, and most especially on the autumn equinox and Halloween. I'm not sure exactly when Blair adopted his Druidism, but once he did, if anyone brought up religion, he made sure to make it clear that Druidism was what he believed in. If you're not familiar, in short, this means these changes of seasons were very important to him. And those fires always marked his favorite one. Fast forward 10 or so years. Our circle of friends grew older, marriages happened, our day-to-day lives drifted apart. Kids have appeared within our crew. Now it's Nikki and I's turn. At 6:12 a.m. in the morning of Nikki's scheduled C-section, I have a message from Blair. Good luck today. My phone will be on if you need anything today. 2 hours later, Nikki and I welcomed Noah Brown into the world. Fast forward 8 more years, many hundreds of hours of late night gaming sessions together. The world is starting to understand what a pandemic means. I can tell Blair is in a funk, but there's something he's excited about. He's been watching Super Metroid speedruns, but he wanted to talk to me about them, and I said, why don't you come over and show me? Thus, Wednesday evenings in our family with Blair were born. Even with all the activities we did with our kids, From the summer of 2020 until 2 weeks ago, with few exceptions, Blair was over at our house on Wednesdays. Most of the time, he'd be there when the kids got off school at 3:45. Often, he would cook dinner for the family. Sometimes he'd cover making sure the kids had someone there when Nikki or I couldn't because of work. We welcomed him into our family with open arms. On the early morning hours of March 21st, after one of only 2 days of the year where day and night are equal length, came to a close on the vernal equinox, he chose to take all this and his personal light away from us and the world. Over the past days, I too have struggled with my rage at his choice. I have not truly accepted that he is gone. I have been able to blessedly spend time with my family and friends remembering him in the times he gave us. However, he made it abundantly clear by what he left behind and in the manner he did so, that this was indeed his choice. One of the last things he said to the world at large was sharing the lyrics of the theme song from Firefly. I have another quote from that series that I want to share now. The title of the episode is The Message. It starts with two of the main characters receiving a note from an old war buddy. This note comes attached to his coffin with his body in it. The note reads, "You know, it's funny. We went through the war, never looking to come back, but it's the real world I couldn't survive. You two carried me through that war, and now I need you to carry me just a little bit further." Blair was loved. He was hurting. He will be missed. We will carry his memory on.
So good to see everyone. For those of you who don't know me, there's a lot of you I don't know. My name's Justin. I don't know, maybe, looking around, sorry. Baby was the first person here, in Blair's world. I don't know what to say, there's so much to say. I was once there for Blair at a time when he didn't think he had anyone. And years later, he returned the favor to me when I felt like I didn't have anyone. He was the one that was there. And that was him, right? That was him. Being a druid, Blair loved trees. But Blair was the first person I knew that was a true tree hugger. And not in the sense of an environmentalist, but because he loved trees. So, outside, just as you go out the door, right to your right, there's a tree with flowers around it. Just as we have the need here, if you want to drink, just touch the tree. Touch the tree.
I know I haven't seen a lot of you in 20 years, so. Memories of my childhood are hazy at best. But Blair was there from the time I was 15. My whole life was complicated and my friendships were complicated, and frankly I was a mess, but he never cared. He He was always there with kind words and ridiculous jokes and a general acceptance that I wasn't used to having. He was a constant for me, always available to listen or advise, always there to chatter about video games when I didn't have any words to say. I would ride my bike over to meet up with him and various friends when I couldn't bear to be home. And he was my happy space in the world. For a while, we lived our lives and I lost track of everyone. We had brief check-in conversations here and there as social media took over. It wasn't until he reached out to me about work that we really got to reacquaint. We spent lunches catching up on 15 years of lost time, telling in stories and filling in the gaps. They were something to look forward to that struck a happy little light through the tedium of my day. He joined my little gaming community and he fit in well. We made jokes about Ohio weather and talked about games and food. It was always easy to be friends with him. 23 years later, he was again a constant, endlessly supportive and always around to talk about everything and nothing. Blair's impact on my life will be with me forever. I may not remember everything we did or we said, but I remember his acceptance, his genuineness, his guidance, and his kindness, and I will remember the rest of my life. Peace until we meet again.
Hello, everybody. Been known by many names: Ernesto, Chico, Tweak, Ernie, etc. But I come here before you as James Blair's friend. Right when I walked in and had an opportunity to go ahead and do a little bit of catching up before we started this memorial ceremony, I was directed to start writing down memories and/or little idioms or idiosyncrasies about Blair. And I'll make several promises to keep it very short. For a lot of folks that know me, I am a talker, and I have a lifetime of stories, and I'd like to share with you some of the stories about Blair. Where to start? I first met Blair in the throes of life changes, uncertainty, angst, and borderline homelessness that back then I was afraid of and very ashamed of, but I'm not anymore. During my junior year at Springfield High School, profound feelings of isolation came upon me. However, I found solace and acceptance upon the invitation to a so-called LAN party on Crane Street in Springfield Township. At this party, I was introduced to a motley crew of computer enthusiasts, junk food nihilists, and I can think of nobody else better that could probably fit that description. Anime fiends and Mountain Dew chuggers. The promulgator of the same was none other than the host himself, James Blair. During this time frame, my curiosity of other avenues of interest were satiated. We played Diablo, Worms, EverQuest, Red Alert, and other arcade games that escape me at the moment. In addition, I was introduced to Neon Genesis Evangelion and the finer points of Studio Ghibli cinema. Lastly, I was treated to several different music selections, mainly Japanese electronica, and notably OAR's first studio album. Through this crazy night of poker, I gained several lifelong friends and quite the education. I shall miss Blair, no matter what, and his fervent love of the off-beaten paths shall resonate with his family, with his friends, with me, and with my family forever as well. He was my friend. Thank you.
There's a tradition in my husband's family that every celebration, usually birthdays, that there is one funny card and one sweet card exchange. I'm going to apply this philosophy to my stories. My favorite funny story of Blair was when Rick and Blair and I were heading up to Ann Arbor, because why not? There's many nerdy pursuits up there that we could all find enjoyment in. We decided to listen to some old Bill Cosby skits. The favorite one that got us all roaring was a skit about a one-toothed saber tiger who growled with a lisp. His name was Ralph. For some reason, this just hit all of our funny bones, and we could not stop laughing for probably about 20 minutes, and even now, as evidenced, we still find it amusing. Just something that always brought a smile on my face. I would hear the name Ralph, and I'd start giggling, think of Rick and Blair. And then another favorite memory of mine was going through some difficulty in my early 20s. And Blair took me aside and said, maybe you just need to sit with yourself for a bit. Get to know who you are. That's profound now, let alone for an early 20-ish young man. And as been stated many times already, he was a constant in our lives. He'll still be a constant, we can still talk to him, but unfortunately we won't get many peals of wisdom back. I'm so glad I got one more panda attack before he decided to do this.
It's like, we called him JR because we had James and JR, but then we had to change it once he got married to James. So it's still more JR to me. But there are many times he was my as such drinking buddy because he liked the stunts and the stuff I liked. So I got somebody to share my Stone Brewery with. He was also our official mashed potato person at Christmas. We couldn't get him mashed till he got there. So that was his one job. And the earliest memory I probably have of him was when we would go over to his dad's house and he'd pop out of the bedroom and say hi, and then he'd go back in to videotape his games to see where he went wrong so he could get to the next level. And he was the one who made his dad come to my husband's funeral. He says, "You're going." And he was always there in his own little way, but he always had to scoot to see his friends. So, in honor of the many beers we shared, here's to James. I'm still mad at him, but that will go away.
Honestly, I wasn't planning on sharing anything. Didn't think I could get through it, but I really loved Blair. He was like a brother to me. He opened up a whole world of different things that I didn't even know existed. Science fiction, fantasy. Like, I wouldn't be reading those if it wasn't for Blair. The whole Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino thing. Didn't know that existed. He was the one that opened my eyes to that awesome expert genre. I loved just spending time with him. I loved his hugs. I loved just hanging out with him. He would always just accept whoever was with him, no matter how or where you came from. He was like just everybody's big brother. And again, I don't remember the first time that I ever met him. There was always just Blair, and he was always just his sweet, loving, funny, caring self. And I'm just so thankful that I got to be a part of that. And I thank all of you for coming and being a part of it today. It really means a lot to us. We are the ones that are left behind. So, thank you again for coming today, for sharing your awesome memories of Blair. We're so grateful to have been able to have these stories of this kind, funny, compassionate, amazing guy. While it is with sorrow, but in deep love and affection, we do want to use this time now to commit his life to the universe. Please stand. One more tribute. I apologize. We'll do the committal and then Reed will share as well. Star of the East, give us kindly birth. Star of the South, give us a great love. Star of the West, please give us a quiet age. Star of the North, please give us death. Let there be peace in the East. Let there be peace in the South. Let there be peace in the West. Let there be peace in the North. Let there be peace through all the worlds. So let it be. You may be seated.
She gets it from me, obviously.
That is great.
You got this, girl.
My favorite memory, I think, that I'll always remember was, I don't even know what day it was. I have no clue. I don't even know if it was school day, it was in the summer, or it was on the weekend. But one day, I think he just came over and he took me and Noah like to McDonald's. Really, and he just took us there. And then he took us somewhere else after. We didn't know where we were going at the time because I don't think he told us. It was a surprise. We didn't have any clue. When we got there, we figured out he told us we were going into Nickel World. And he did, I don't know if he bought like 2 bags or 3 bags or 5, I don't know. He bought at least a bag of nickels for us to play arcade games. And we just played until we were done. And I do remember this one game that I was playing. It was like one of those like ticket games where you like get a ton of tickets. And I was just doing it, and I got like a whole bunch of tickets out of this one. And then it ran out of tickets. And so there was another one, so I was doing on that one because we were waiting for the guy to grab the tickets. While Blair went to go over and ask him that they needed a refill ticket. And the other one, I spent, and it was out too. So we had to wait. So once the guy got over, we had to tell him that the other one was out too. So we had to grab 2 whole new things of tickets. I think that was the last game I did. I don't know. And then we got prizes. I had a lot of tickets. And then we got home. I think that's all we did. I don't know if he stayed or if he left. Yeah.
He loved you guys so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to speak, but I don't know how it's gonna go. Blair came into my life back in August of 2004. We didn't have the best of relationships in the beginning. In fact, he actually told Rick to leave me and get rid of her. Obviously, Rick didn't. He didn't listen to him. Thankfully. But we overcame our differences and we became the best of friends. I'm not really sure exactly what the memory was. We just watched a movie and that was it for us. But I don't know what movie, but I know he knows. He has celebrated so many milestones with me and Rick. The last few years, our relationship changed from friendship to family. He was someone that I could talk to about anything and everything. He listened. He was always there for me. He helped me through so many insecurities. Just always a kind ear. I loved watching him talk to Noah about books and video games and anything, or helping with Noah and Bree's homework. We experienced so many different memories with him. He was a permanent presence in our lives, and I will miss him and all of the memories that we'll never get to experience. I've not only lost one of my best friends, but I've lost my brother. I may never understand, but I will never forget the impact that he had on my life.
Just have one thing. I talked to his father last night, and he wanted to thank everybody for everything they've done for him, for being there and taking care of all this. He really means a lot to him.
He's watching right now. I would say that 99.9% of you have never seen me in your entire lives. This just goes to show how far I knew him as Juma, his reach went. We're part of a small gaming group in a game called EverQuest, long time ago. And me and my significant other were not a part of the original group. We came in later, and much later. And I remember our first event, and we barely knew these people. We had only been playing these games with them for a little bit, and you know, we didn't even know if we were gonna go. We were just like a little bit of anxiety. And he was the first one to kind of like really reach out and just embrace us and just bring us into the group and the community. And the relationship just grew stronger from there and there and there. We became really good friends, not just in game, but you know, in real life too. He is the one who actually married us. He got ordained and married my wife and myself and drove out to Indiana and married us. And it's just always there. And I really don't know what else to say. It's just the point I was trying to make is it didn't matter. You know, he was going to welcome anyone and care for anyone and anyone at any given time. And I never stopped talking to him. Even as the group disappeared and people moved on and everything like that, I was still playing with him as of the Sunday before. And just like, I was just like shocked like everybody else because everything was normal. But that's just the kind of person he was. You know, willing to do anything for anyone and welcome anyone into it. And I just want to say a few words. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I met James when I was 12 years old, and he became the first friend that my brother made after we moved to Springfield. My brother had been mercilessly bullied when we lived in Swan, like hung off of railings at the old high school, and just, he was a really nerdy kid and thought that it was a bad thing. James was a proud nerd though. And I idolized my brother, so I stole all of his friends or borrowed them. That's how I became friends with James. I'm probably the only one to call him James. And I'd known him for so long before I met everybody else that called him Blair. I just never stopped. When I went through the hot mess that was my 20s, he was the one that was constantly reminding me about the love that I deserved. And it took me a while before I believed him, but I'm very grateful for everything that he did for my brother and I during so many hard times. So thank you, Blair.
Blair.
Can I add something? I was
Absolutely.
rambling. I apologize. I've got my thoughts now.
More the merrier.
The thing I really wanted to add is there is some, as angry and hatred, not hatred, but angry and upset that we feel right now and hurt, it does bring awareness to this. I am looking now closer at a lot of people that I know, and I see struggles that I didn't see before. I am paying closer attention, and I have two people now who I see signs of things that I am now able to reach out and try to help a little better. If anything, this is just going to make everybody stronger, make everybody support, and be there for people even more and better. You know, not everything has to be doom and gloom. There is good things to come out of bad situations, and just be aware of the people around you. it makes a difference. You can make a difference in somebody's life. And don't think about the coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's just going, there was nothing nobody could have done here. It was set in stone. We just hope he's at peace and happier now. That he's in a better place. That he's not dealing with the pain he dealt before. But we can take what we learned and try to be there for the next person. Thank you.
So at this time, if there's nobody else that would like to do a trivia, I'm going to do the closing words. Before I get there, though, I just want to say, listening to everybody, one thing that I think rings true with everybody's words is acceptance. Whether you are a nerd, whether you are good at school, whether you're bad at school, whether you're a colleague, a coworker, an online game, somebody saw every Wednesday, or somebody he saw once a year at a Christmas party, somebody he saw, maybe you guys lost touch for 10, 15 years. Blair just accepted. And that's one lesson I think we can all learn, that I think he taught all of us. And that's just, wasn't another thing I want to add, other than it rang true through so many people's stories today. That know that you're accepted and find the people that will accept you. And Blair was one of my people that did that. And I hope all of us have that in our lives, and we can have somebody that just accepts us for who we are. On behalf of James Blair, thank you all for coming here today. Thank you all for the warmth, sensitivity, and support of the last few days and weeks. As we all strive to adjust to everyday life, now made a little less bright by his absence. As you return to your own lives, we know that we will continue to share memories of him, and we are sure to continue smiling and laughing at all of those cherished memories. Our brother, our friend, James Blair wanted you to be able to reconnect and move forward together. If you are able, we invite you to stay for a reception following the service, and we would love to have all of you join.